Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today we're going to make this fun card using some unusual supplies. And you'll be able to find the stamps that I used today at our sponsor Rubber Stamp Tapestry. You can find them online at pegstamps.com. And I've pulled out the supplies I plan on using here, and I've got the peg stamps from the Lotus Pond stamp set, which is really pretty. It was one of my first and favorite peg stamp sets. I've also got this globe from the Let It Snow stamp set, and I was looking at that thinking, you know, that would make a really cute fishbowl. So I cut a square of cardstock here. It's about 3 inches square, and I decided to do a square card, so I went ahead and I cut all my square panels right off the bat, and I knew it would make putting the card together a lot quicker. Now the neat thing about your ink pads is that you can use them as watercolors, as a color medium. It's one less thing to have out on your desk. So I just took a clear blending marker and I spread some of the ink out to make a water line and also some kind of like some gravel at the bottom of the fishbowl. Now, typically you wouldn't have lily pads and water lilies in your fishbowl, but I thought it was kind of whimsical and fun, and why not? This is your stamping world. You can put whatever you want in there. Now, the key to making something look really pleasing is to vary the scale. So I have some different size lily pads there. And I'm also using different shades of green ink to kind of overlap them a bit and give them a little depth and dimension. Don't worry if your stamping isn't perfect. I've got that lotus flower hovering a little bit above my lily pads, but it's going to be fine. I can always stamp in another lily pad, I can add a stem, or I can do something to make it all fill in. I'm just going to put another lily pad in there since I only had one big one before, and that will help balance out my design. The goldfish stamps in this set are really, really pretty. They've got a nice flow to them because the fins kind of extend on and they have some nice movement. So stamping those in a couple different sizes really adds to the design in the bowl and makes it really interesting. I try to mix and match stuff up. If I have other stamps that go with different peg stamp sets, I'll use them together, like this little teeny tiny fish. This wasn't in the Lotus Pond set, but I thought it worked really well, and it gave us a little bit more life and filled the fishbowl up a little bit better. And I also put the seed pod in there too because, again, I thought it just gives us a little bit more filler and looks interesting. You can also use the same fish in different colors to build on the design and add a little variety while still keeping the unity and the same design throughout. So it gives you a little bit of interest, but it doesn't add discordant. You can also add some regular markers. I'm using some brush tip and regular felt tip water-based markers to go in and add some gravel, add some texture, add some water lines. Use what you have and just try to keep your colors fairly similar, so even though you're using a different media, it still goes together. To make it appear that my goldfish bowl is sitting on a table, I put a post-it note over my image, covering up about the top 2/3, and I am going to ink the bottom portion. And I'm using an orange. I'm using the same color I used for the fish, the goldfish. That way it's going to add color harmony and it's going to match. And I'm just using my color duster to add my ink. And then I went in with an orange marker, a brush tip marker, because they're a little easier to blend. And I just went over to add a little shadow and a wood grain to this tabletop, or just kind of give it that appearance. You can also add some of those colors in the bowl as reflections, or refractions rather, because glass does kind of distort and grab color and move it around within like a vase, so it looks kind of nice. Now I had this old stamp that said best fishes, and I thought it was really cute, and so I just inked up the words and stamped that on a banner. And because I made a little mistake and got a little ink on the fish, I just used some of those little fish to accent it with. So when in doubt, if you make a mistake, just keep adding to it until you can't see your mistake anymore. Now this is a really fun technique, and it will work on pretty much any sort of stamped image you have, and this is to selective glitter. I'm using a quickie glue pen, which is a pen that has glue in it, and you can color with it, but it dries tacky, so you don't have to be very quick. And you can also use this for foiling too, so it's really nice. So I went in and I added some glue to fish scales and the bowl and bubbles and anywhere I think there might be a little light reflection, like in the water. And then I just put on some ultrafine glitter, and once you put that on, all you have to do is just kind of sprinkle the glitter on and then tap off the excess. And any of that excess can be poured right back into your jar so you don't waste any. This is so wonderful. and all you need is that really light adhesive to hold the glue. So try this anytime you're stamping anything, like in a landscape. It's really nice for doing like sparkles on water. It looks really nice on flower petals. It just is such a pretty effect, and it's so easy to do. So now I'm just layering up my panels here. So the card that I did is 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. So I basically took a 4 1/4 by 8 1/2 piece of cardstock and folded it in half. And it's just a nice way to do a cute little square card. You can either hand make an envelope to fit that, or you can use a regular invitation size envelope, and you can just kind of tape the envelope shut so that it will fit that better, or you can, just put it in a regular envelope to save you some postage, or do a square envelope. It's completely up to you. I like to add a little ink to my panels, especially if the blue isn't exactly the right color. By inking with a color you've already used, you just make everything coordinate perfectly. And this is a simple card, but I think it looks really cute, and it just, it's just kind of nice. It's nice to have something in a different format. And I wrapped some Novelty yarn around the center panel just to give it a little texture. That's just some kind of Novelty flag yarn. I have a lot of Novelty yarns. I always loved knitting like accents with it and stuff, but I find the Novelty yarn kind of goes out of style after a while, but it works really great on a card still because it was never really in style on cards, so it's just a nice way to use it if you have it in your stash. I'm just going to embellish this with some simple flat-backed pearls that I think I picked up at the Dollar Tree last year, but they're just the right color, and it just sets off this card really nicely, I think. If you want to, you can use foam tape to pop up the sentiment, which I did, and really that's all there is to it. I think with that glitter embellishment and a little bit of fiber, that's really all you need. You can find the stamps I used linked up below at pegstamps.com. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Until next time, happy crafting!